Hi classmate, I am Dame Orsino from CA23C1. And I am here guys to discuss the Chapter 2 of CMTA or Custom Modernization Tariff Act. This chapter covers the section 801 to 813. So without further ado guys, let's start the discussion. But before we proceed to different section, I will explain to you what is warehouse. Warehouse, it is one used for keeping or storage of articles. But what is the difference between warehouse and bonded warehouse? As I said, warehouse, it is one used for keeping or storage of articles, while bonded warehouse includes premise, rooms, compartments, and other areas necessary for storing, processing, repacking, and manufacturing imported raw materials and by-products of wastage incident to such activities. Now, let's proceed to the section 801, Establishment and Supervision of Custom Bounded Warehouse. How is bounded warehouse established? When the business of the port requires such facilities, the district collector, subject to the approval of the commissioner, shall designate and establish warehouse for use as public and private bonded warehouse, yards, or for other special purposes. Again, who has the authority to designate and establish warehouse for use as public or private bonded warehouse or for other special purposes? The answer is the collector of custom, subject to the approval of the commissioner of the custom whenever the business of the port requires such facilities. Where shall application to establish and operate a custom bounded warehouse be filed? The application to establish and operate a custom bounded shall be submitted to the commissioner of the custom through the district collector, except the following. How are bonded warehouse supervised? All such warehouse and premise shall be subject to the supervision of the district collector, who shall impose such condition as may be deemed necessary for the protection of the revenue and of the goods stored therein. In the exercise of district collector's supervisory function therein, and in the Bureau implementation of this chapter, existing contract of private operator with appropriate government agency or regulatory, such as but not limited to the Philippine Port Authority or PPA, Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority or SBMA, and PBDEC Industrial Authority or PIA, their respective authorities and powers already granted by the law, pertinent to such contract shall not be impaired or adversely affected. I will flash here the classification of industry enterprise according to NEDA. And I will enumerate here the different annual supervision fee required in the operation of custom bounded warehouse. Next is, are warehouse made for storage only? Can goods be manufactured in a bounded warehouse? If so, what are the conditions? Goods manufactured in a whole or in a part of imported materials and intended for exportation may be made and manufactured in a bonded manufacturing warehouse, subject to the following condition. The 5 condition is file, application, examine, authority, and pay. The first condition is the manufacturer shall file sufficient security for the faithful observance of all laws, rules, and regulation applicable. The second condition is the application for the establishment of bounded warehouse must be made in a writing and filed with the customs officer, describing the premise, location, and the capacity of the same and the purpose of which the building is for to be used, pursuant to the section 804 of this Act. The third condition is, from the receipt of the application, the customs officer shall examine the premise, evaluate the location, construction, and means provided for the safekeeping of the goods. The fourth condition is, the customs officer may authorize the establishment of the custom bounded warehouse and accept bond for its operation and maintenance if the applicant was compliant with the prescribed requirements. And the fifth condition is the operator of the bounded warehouse shall pay annual supervision fee in amount to be fixed by the commissioner. But what articles may not be entered for warehousing? Any articles that is imported contrary to the law. Now, let's proceed to the section 802, types of custom bounded warehouse. What are the types of customs bounded warehouse or CBW? Custom bounded warehouse may be classified as either manufacturing or non-manufacturing. Manufacturing custom bounded warehouse may be of the following types: miscellaneous custom bounded warehouse, custom common bounded warehouse, industry-specific bounded warehouse. Non-manufacturing bounded warehouse includes private bounded warehouse, public bounded warehouse, and other customs facilities. To give you the description of different types of customs bounded warehouse, for manufacturing custom bounded warehouse, the meaning of miscellaneous customs bounded warehouse, customs common bounded warehouse, industry-specific customs bounded warehouse. For the non-manufacturing custom bounded warehouse, public custom bounded warehouse, private customs bounded warehouse. And now let's proceed to the section 803, types of customs facilities and warehouse. What are the types of customs facilities and warehouse or CFW? Customs facility and warehouse shall include container yard, container freight station, seaports warehouse, and airport warehouse. Subject to consultation with the NEDA or the National Economic Development Authority and the DTI or Department of Trade and Industry, and based on prevailing economic circumstances, the Secretary of Finance may, upon the recommendation of the Commissioner, create and dissolve certain types of warehouse. Next, for the Section 804, application for operation of a customs warehouse, where will you apply to operate a customs bounded warehouse? Application for the establishment of CBW and CFW shall be filed with the district collector where the CBW or CFW is located, describing the premise, location, of capacity, and purpose thereof. Upon receipt of such application, the district collector shall examine the premise of such proposed warehouse, particularly its location, construction, and storage facilities. The district collector, with the approval of Commissioner, may authorize the establishment of customs warehouse and accept the required security for its operation and maintenance. The operator of such CBW or CFW shall pay annual supervision fee as determined by the Commissioner. What is the period of validity of license to operate a bounded warehouse? It shall be valid for a period of 2 years from the date of issuance. Next, let's proceed to the Section 805, Responsibility of Operator. What is the responsibilities of a warehouse operator? The operator of CBW or CFW shall comply with the customs requirements on establishment security, sustainability, and management, including stock keeping and accounting of the goods of the CBW or CFW. Upon lawful demand, the operator of a CBW or CFW shall allow authorized representative of the Bureau to access to the premise at the reasonable time and to all documents, books, and records of accounts pertaining to the operation of a CBW or CFW. In case of loss of the goods stored in CBW or CFW due to operator gross negligence or willful misconduct, the operator shall be liable to the payment of duties and taxes. The government assumes no legal responsibilities over the safekeeping of goods stored in any customs warehouse, yards, or premise. And now, let's proceed to the Section 806, Customs Control over CBW and CFW. Who controls CFW and CBW operations? The Bureau shall, for customs purposes, exercise control over direct and managed CBW and CFW pursuant to the Section 303 of this Act, and likewise over the goods thereat pursuant to Section 301 of this Act, provided that the Bureau shall not be liable for any loss or damage of the goods stored for safekeeping in and CBW, CFW, yards, or premises. Does the government have responsibility in respect to articles stored in custom warehouse? No, the government does not assume any legal responsibility in respect to the safekeeping of articles stored in any customs warehouse, shed, yards, or premises. Let's proceed to the Section 807, Discontinuance of Cbw or CFW. What are the grounds of discontinuance of CFW or CBW? The use of any CBW or CFW may be discontinuance by the district collector when conditions so warrant or upon receipt of any written request from the operator thereof, provided that all the laws and regulations has been complied by the said operator. Where dutiable goods are stored in such premises, the same must be removed at the risk and expense of the operator, provided, however, that the premises shall not be relinquished and its use shall not be discontinued until after a careful examination of the account of the warehouse has been made. Discontinuance of the use of any warehouse shall be effective upon the approval thereof by the district collector, who shall, within 10 days, inform the commissioner of such action in writing. Notice of discontinuance made by the operator shall not result in the discharge from any duties, taxes, fees, and other charges imposed on the dutiable goods in the said warehouse. Now let's proceed to the Section 808, Warehousing Security of Goods stored in CBW. How are goods stored in CBW secured? For the goods declared in the entry for warehousing in CBW, the district collector shall require the importer to post a sufficient security equivalent to the computed duties, taxes, and other charges. And who is the responsible in case of loss of imported articles stored in the custom bounded warehouse? The bounded warehouse operator who shall be liable for the payment of duties and taxes due thereon. Now, let's proceed to the Section 809, Withdrawal of Goods from CBW. How are goods stored in CBW withdrawn? Imported goods shall be withdrawn from the CBW when the necessary withdrawal permit has been filed, together with any related documents required by any provision of this Act and other regulations. Goods enter under sufficient security as provided in Section 1507 of this Act may be withdrawn at any time for consumption, for transit, or for exportation. The withdrawal must be made by the CBW operator or its duly authorized representative. Again, when or what cases may article be withdrawn from bounded warehouse? The answer is article entered under irrevocable domestic letter of credit, bank, guarantee, or bond may be withdrawn at any time in the following cases. Now let's proceed to the Section 810, Release of Goods from CFW. How are the goods stored in CFW released? Imported goods shall be released when the good declaration is electronically lodged, together with any related documents required by any provision of this Act and other regulations. All goods entered into the CFW shall be subject to the filing of goods declaration within the period specified under Section 407 of this Act. To give you the maximum period for submission of documents for liquidation of entries of bounded manufacturing warehouse, I will present here. And also, I will present here how wasted rejects and byproducts incident to process of manufacture in bounded warehouse are disposed of. And now let's proceed to the Section 811, Period of Storage in CBW. For how long should the goods be stored in CBW? Goods entered for warehousing may remain in a CBW for a maximum period of 1 year from the time of its arrival thereat. The perishable goods, the storage period shall be 3 months from the date of arrival, extendable for valid reason, and upon writing request to another 3 months. Goods not withdrawn after the expiration date of the prescribed period shall be deemed as abundant, as provided under Section 1129 of this Act. The Commissioner shall, in consultation with the Secretary of Trade and Industry, establish a reasonable storage period limit beyond 1 year for bonded goods or manufacturing and intended for export. The processing into finished product of which requires a longer period based on industry standard and practice, subject to the approval of the Secretary of Finance. So, what is the maximum period of storage in bonded warehouse? Articles duly entered for warehousing may remain in the bonded warehouse for a maximum period of 1 year from the time of arrival at the port of entry. Now, let's proceed to Section 812, Exemption from Duties of Goods in CBW. Are goods stored in a bonded warehouse exempted from duties? Goods duly entered for warehousing in CBW should be exempt from duty and tax within the allowed period for storage, unless withdrawn for consumption, exportation, or transit to a free zone or another CBW, in which case, such withdrawal will be subject to the applicable rules and regulation for the liquidation of the warehouse entry. For additional information, I will present here the tax privilege of customs bonded warehouse. And also, is the aforesaid tax privilege of custom bonded warehouse subject to a limitation? Yes, the said privilege shall not be applied to the following. Now, let's proceed to the last section of this chapter, the Section 813, Records to be kept by CBW operators. Are CBW operators required to keep records for how long? What are the records to be kept? An account shall be kept by the Bureau of all goods delivered to a CBW, and a report shall be made by the CBW operators containing a detailed statement of all imported goods entered and withdrawn from the CBW. The Bureau shall specify the format of the report and make required electronic submission. All documents, books, and records of accounts concerning the operation of any CBW shall, upon demand, be made available to the district collector or the representative of district collector for examination or audit. For record purposes, all documents shall be kept for the 3 years. That will be all for today, classmates, and that's the end of my discussion, and I hope you learned something from me. So always keep safe, guys, and God bless. See you on my next discussion. Bye!